Coach Helen for YouFit Studio. Let's get this rolling. Okay. Fear of success. Okay. I mentioned may seem a little bit unusual that someone might be scared of being successful. And yet there is a psychology to it. Now, if I'm talking about experiences I've had where I've seen this, it tends to be clients who will shy away of the success of losing weight to some degree, right? So ultimately they'll seek to avoid in some way or another hitting a target. Now that target could be success in their head, could be a particular number. So it might be a number on the scales that in their head signifies something quite big for a personal or emotional position, and therefore, hey Karen, therefore, disability sleep. Therefore, what they will do is they will seek to find a way to not be successful at their goal to some degree, and fear everything that they perceive comes with it. So what do we do? Okay, this is what people do if they're fearing success. And this could be professional or losing weight, by the way, health. What we do is we do some things which is running away from hitting the target, right? Which I just talked about. So hitting the target might be a weight number. So what does running away actually mean? So running away actually means avoiding targets. Could be. So avoiding targets, what would they be? So avoiding targets would be avoiding the weight, right? By either suddenly choosing not to train. There's a consciousness to this. So choosing not to train, or not doing food, or overeating, or not doing anything at all. They become conscious, right? That we become conscious not making decisions, and that can come off, right? Or be described as by clients. I was wrestling it under the desk and you just caught a glimpse. See, now attempting to knock everything over. It's been a long time since it's been alive. I did say it's about you. Essentially, what it started to do, it can come off as being lazy. That's what a client will say. Helen, I've been lazy. I've not done things. I've been lazy. I've been avoiding doing stuff. And that's because a client can actually feel lazy. And actually, what's really happening for some, a percentage of, they're in that place where to succeed is scary, right? It is scary enough to create fear, and so scary they feel they're making no decision, right? It's better than making a decision, a bit like decidophobia I talked about earlier on this week, right? Real thing again, still saying it. The consequences of success, right, are deemed to be more scary than success itself, right? So I'm going to say that again. So the consequences of success are more scary than success itself, right? Now, whether or not they're real, or let's face it, they're perceived, is something else. For those people, though, the consequences, again, of success are more scary than the actual success itself. So what does that mean? What does that mean in real terms? So the consequences of success for some, maybe, let's use work for this one, and I'll come to a health one as well. So for work, the consequences of success might be more responsibility in the workplace, might be perceived longer hours, it might be more pressure, it might be less holidays, right? Working later, being held responsible for more, right? Though those consequences can be quite scary if it's an unknown. You're taking that principle, that's no different to somebody losing weight or achieving a number or a dress size, for example. So let's run it through using the same kind of context. So the consequences of losing weight may be, right, let's go through them off the top of my head. Being noticed more by others. Wearing nicer clothes. People complimenting and being the centre of attention. This is a good one. Feeling pressured to stay the same weight, right? So they've hit, I don't know, let's go size 8 or 10, right? Feeling then the consequences, the pressure, the expectation that they have to stay the same weight or maintain the same behaviours. feeling like they always have to be eating good or great or clean, or whatever it is. So the consequences, the perceived consequences, because again, it's not necessarily facts, the perceived consequences of losing weight or hitting through or being successful can actually turn into a fear, right? If that's not something that you thought over, discussed, right, with your coach. That is, I've seen it quite often. I see it very often actually, that a client will get very close to hitting something, and then it just seems that they are just gliding close and gliding away, gliding close, gliding away, gliding, or just back and forth. And it's not because there's anything changing in the strategy, as in how many times someone's training or what's happening with their food, although there potentially is, right, because there's a conscious choice happening. Actually, what's the client is scared of the consequences of breaking through that barrier, because they perceive on the other side there's all these things that are going to happen, or all these things they're going to have to deal with, if they're real or not, if they're fact or not. Like we talked about a lot when we're talking about fears. Fears are not real; they're based on untruths. However, we attach emotion to it, and it becomes a truth. So if someone doesn't like being in the limelight and gets anxious, right, gets sweaty palms at the thought of people saying, "Oh, don't you look nice?" and having the pressure of wearing nice clothes and wearing nice things and being invited to more stuff when they don't like to go out, all of those things can create somebody who wants to avoid actually being successful. Now the challenge is that the more that someone avoids the success, like I talked about, these clients who drive back and forth. See, Instagram can't see this. Oh, it's coming. There it is. We'll just leave it there, shall we? See how long so we can leave it there for. You love working at home. I'll keep going. Yeah, I know. She's really happy. She's really happy right now. I'm just going to glide through this. I'm going to glide through this like this isn't happening. Oh, God. Right, fear of success is maintained and strengthened every time someone takes actions to avoid the success. The more you avoid, the more you fear, right? So the more you avoid it, think of any situation you've been in, if it's like, I don't know, taking a driving test or any test, exam, the more you come close to it, to booking it, the more you mull over it, the more you get concerned about it, the bigger the fear gets. The more you avoid it, the bigger the fear gets each time. And that's no different to somebody who is scared of the success of weight loss or anything else where there's been a massive change, or somewhere you're trying to move to, career or otherwise. It just keeps keeps building. And you know, the other thing that I find fascinating, and this is very true. There's a kind of a what's the word? Being scared of success is also embarrassing for some people, as if we're all meant to be aiming to be successful individuals in every walk of life, and to not want to be successful must therefore be wrong's not the right way to say it. However, there seems to be a level of shame attached to saying you don't want to be successful. You're scared of being success because it equals failure. And actually that's why a lot of clients don't talk about it in the way that they do, and why a lot of clients, it will take some time for them to understand, and with the support of a coach, to understand this is actually happening. And it is common, like I said, it's not often discussed as openly as I'm discussing it now, because of that, because culturally we're meant to be all successful people and love success and all the things it brings, right? Whether that's money, prestige, big car, nice clothes, good holidays, I don't know, banging abs, all the rest of that stuff. We're meant to want that stuff. That's culturally, we're meant to be driving towards that stuff on a constant basis. And when somebody says, actually, if I think about it, I don't want it, I'm nervous about it, I'm scared about it. How often have you actually heard somebody in life actually say it? Now I have, actually. I have heard it a few times with clients I've been working with for some time. And that's how it works with something like this. It will take somebody a long time to admit that they don't want, or they're scared of succeeding because of that, because it's not culturally acceptable to say I'm not comfortable with success, I don't want to succeed. I don't want all the things that success brings me. I'm actually quite happy where I am because I'm too scared of all those things that will come with it. Like, I'm not in terms of health, I've definitely been there in terms of work. Like, that's the, you know, with all those perceived stresses and responsibilities, it can make someone scared to step up. We're often more comfortable talking about that as in a business than we are talking about, or as an employment sense, than we are to say, actually, I'm less comfortable about losing weight and looking good because I come the centre of attention, because people notice me, because then I'm going to have to make more effort because people notice me. And maybe become more attractive and therefore be dealing with another aspect of my life that I've been avoiding. All these things are actually have the same pathway in our brain when it comes to behaviours, and then also how we respond, as in we back away from it. So we are going back to avoiding actions, consciously not making decisions, appearing like doing nothing, as in appearing and using words I've been lazy, but actually just avoiding moving towards success because of the fear that comes with it. And actually, if you think about these clients, there are, and I always say, I'll always come to how to deal with these things, because I think it's important to have constructive element to these observations. You know what I said it yesterday, be curious with yourself about this, understand where it comes from. It will come from somewhere. The fear of success, or the fear of actually congratulating yourself on something, comes from somewhere, and it generally comes from a long time ago. Again, that's why a lot of clients don't talk about it or feel embarrassed or ashamed of talking about it, because you might have some deep-seated emotional attachments. That's not saying you need to get deep on yourself or anything else. It's just great to be curious and understand what it is that's holding you back from breaking through potentially a fantastic weight loss, or a brilliant dress size, whatever it is, or generally feeling good about yourself and being able to do things from a health perspective that you couldn't do before. To know why, or why you're holding yourself back from the other side of that, can be a fantastic breakthrough. Actually, it's good to also become conscious of the avoidance behaviours, right? And actually, once you understand that, okay, this is why I do it, and this is how I'm doing it, right? I always say, what, how, why? All of those three, right, apply to this situation. Well, what is it? I'm not wanting to get to past that 67 kg because I don't know what's on the other side. Okay, why does that freak me out? Well, because I don't actually feel like I have enough confidence to deal with people giving me compliments. Okay, so what am I going to do, right? What, why, how? Okay, it still applies to the situation if you're thinking or feeling that something applies to you. You're tracking your avoidance behaviours, as in, okay, what am I actually doing right now actually as a behaviour to consciously avoid doing something? So is it that I'm choosing to comfort eat, because with some clients they will choose to do it? Am I choosing to have over my what I know is the right meal choice for me, or meal size, because I just don't want to hit that goal? Am I avoiding going to training? Am I consciously choosing not to go because I'm like, I don't want to get there, I'm happy here, I'm comfortable here, I'm comfortable because I'm scared, right? It's great to understand that. Understand that being mindful is also saying that actually moving towards fear sometimes, or most of the time, actually, okay, I'm going to rephrase that. Moving towards fear in life does actually equal success. So moving towards fear equals success. And actually, we know how I feel about fear, or I think about fear. It is to push through something, embrace it, welcome it, leads to only fantastic things, really. If you ever think of a situation where you're really scared of something, anything in life, you thought, I was really nervous and scared about it, on the other side, it's freaking awesome, right? It always is. I've yet to speak to any client or experience it myself where the success of something was really that scary at all on the other side. In fact, it was the absolute opposite. It was a blinder. It was a fantastic moment, and it felt incredible. And no other client I've worked with over the years has ever said anything different either. So that's something to remember, that actually there's always something fantastic on the other side of fear and with success. And it's incredibly rarely anything to do with the list of things we gave ourselves reasons for avoiding it at all, ever. Actually, we just listed off things that never actually happen. So recap. Okay, so fear of success, where do we see it, or where do I see it? I see it quite a lot in terms of avoiding hitting a dress size or a goal size. because the perception of what's on the other side of it is all, to some of us, a scary thing, like the responsibilities, being complimented, being noticed, coming out of the shadows, becoming someone different, right? Changing, right? Fear of becoming someone new, different, physically, mentally, all of that will create a fear of actually succeeding for within some of us, right? And what do? We start making conscious decisions to avoid actions, right? We start to tell ourselves that we are lazy. We tell others that we're lazy. We just don't want to do it. We start behaving that way and we start to believe it. We fear the consequences, right? I say it again. We fear the consequences of success more than we fear the success itself, right? If you think about it, let's just say, if you were 70, I don't know, so say you're 67 kilos and that was your barrier, 66.9 on a number isn't going to do anything to you. It's the consequences of that somebody will fear and build a picture of. So the consequences are scarier than the actual success. The more you avoid it, the stronger it gets. It's like the client said, who brushes to that number and brushes away. Every time someone gets close to success and then veers away from it, actually the avoidance kind of reassures them that they're better off not pushing past it. So rather than succeeding actually at it, or pushing even closer, they just keep coming like a pendulum forward and back towards it and away. All right, and all it does is actually reinforce that fear. And as you said, is that we don't talk about it enough. Like fear of success would carry some kind of level of shame. Like when clients talk to me about it, they always whisper or they lower their voice as if what they're saying is something that shouldn't be heard. And actually, it's okay to express this stuff because it's coming from genuine fears and from emotions and from calculations. So finally, I said how to go deal with it. Just understand where it comes from. We don't have to go into deep therapy about it. It is great to understand that. Well, what is it? What is it I'm actually scared of? So you can understand how to behave. It almost got through. I've almost managed that. I'm just wrestling there under the table. Done so well. It's the last hurdle. Oh god. Track your avoidance behaviours, right? So first thing, understand its origins, track your avoidance behaviours, start to recognise where you do it. And at the end, I've made a final point. If any time you want to succeed, you've got to move towards fear. And on the other side of it is always something fantastic. And it's never the list of things that we actually tell ourselves before we get there. So tomorrow, sneaky drinks. I might join us with a little tipple. Until then, enjoy your evening. If you're at the boot camp, I will see you shortly, and have a brilliant night.